Someday love will find you, break the chains that bind you. One touch will remind you how we loved and went our separate ways. Welcome back to StillerBros at the Movies, and it is our 200th episode. Woo! If you're watching this, you found our second channel, and today we are going to be doing the first of our very first new show entitled StillerBros at the Movies. Basically, it's going to be us going to the movies, talking throughout the entire time, and we're going to be having a lot of fun, and we're going to give a little bit of a review at the end of the movie. So this is going to be... So hopefully we get to do more of these very soon. So we'll see you guys later in a little bit. Yep, that's us. About 199 episodes and 12 years ago. Man, did we never think that we were going to make 200 of these? Nope. But in the long run, all we ever wanted to do with this show was talk about movies and have fun. And if that's the only way we measure success, it pretty much is, then we 100% made it. And what better way to bring in the 200th episode of our show than to talk about a long gestating third movie in a franchise that I don't think Disney remembers how much money they lose on this. Yeah. Tron. Ares. So back in 1982... Hold on. And so you find yourself in 82... So anyway, in 1982, a little cult film called Tron hit theaters. And while it was not exactly a massive hit, it was one of those movies that is so historically relevant and so interesting that it could not gain a cult following. Yeah. The thing about Tron is that it's not really much to write home about in terms of blockbusters. I mean, from a modern perspective, it's fine. It's fine. It's a little long, a little drawn out. The effects don't hold up, but for its time, this movie was successful at what it wanted to be, and what it wanted to be was a tech demo to show exactly what a computer could do. And then it just kind of sat gestating for the next 18 years until 2010, when they did another one with Tron Legacy. A movie we saw in theaters and actually quite liked. Even though we had not seen the original Tron at that point. Tron Legacy, I think, is actually a more successful movie than the original movie. I mean, as far as our taste goes, because the original Tron as a movie feels kind of like one of those like big, thick fantasy novels that you see like people reading, and it'll just be like, wow, that's dense, and I don't want to get into it. Tron Legacy feels more like one of those blockbuster novels that you've probably read a million times. It's kind of the difference between a Lord of the Rings and a Percy Jackson, really. Yeah. And we're very much more Percy Jackson people. Yes, hence why we have been waiting for a sequel of that movie for the last 15 years, and unfortunately, it looks like we're still going to have to wait. Yeah, because Tron Ares is not explicitly a sequel to Tron Legacy. Tron Ares, like Tron Legacy before it, is a standalone sequel to its predecessor. Essentially, we're not getting any follow-up to anything that might have been left open by Tron Legacy. We're probably getting a whole new grid. Garrett Hedlund, Olivia Wilde, they're not coming back. And we're just kind of left with a bunch of brand new characters. They didn't even get Cillian Murphy back, which just means that this is the second sequel to come out this year of a movie that Cillian Murphy was in, that Cillian Murphy is not in, unless The Smashing Machine was secretly an Oppenheimer sequel. But really, this time around, one thing and one thing only is what makes this movie notable, and that is who they have starring in the movie. Jared Leto is a complicated figure. On one hand, his public persona is just awful. He's given every indication that he's not a great person. And yes, we are well aware that he has an Oscar. But the problem with that is that every single choice he has made ever since winning that Oscar has basically made it so that he's gone from one of those actors that you want to keep an eye on to one of those actors who you kind of just don't want to see around anymore. Yeah. House of Gucci, anyone? But probably the strangest choice Hollywood has made in the last decade is trying to convince the entire world that Jared Leto is a bankable star, which, if Morbius is bombing twice within the span of 6 months tells you anything about that, it's not even remotely true.
I think it's really just kind of trying to lean on the Johnny Depp kind of thing. Hollywood wants a kind of weird leading man. They want someone who is somewhat conventionally attractive, but has these weird idiosyncrasies that they want to play with.
And the fact that, and kind of an extra weird thing about this is that since Morbius, this is the first time where they're putting Jared Leto in the up front and center as the leading man, a thing that he has never really been all that successful in if you look at his catalog.
Yeah, in every single movie that Jared Leto has been in before and after the Oscars, he basically was a side character or part of an ensemble. Putting him in as the lead is just kind of making a risk because, look, I get it. He looks conventionally handsome. He's dead behind the eyes in a way that makes the computer learns to love thing work for a Tron movie. But I just don't think that we're getting this, really. Especially since, once again, every choice he makes is just kind of weird and out there in ways that are not kind of charming. Especially when you hear the horror stories of what he was doing to his castmates on the Suicide Squad set.
And even more of the horror stories that have come out recently.
But Jared Leto isn't the only person in this movie. Evan Peters is playing the grandson of the villain from the first Tron movie, with Gillian Anderson playing his mom.
We have Greta Lee from Past Lives coming in, as well as Jodie Turner-Smith.
And, they have a director who's different from the other directors of the Tron movies. The director is Joachim Roning, who is part of Disney's current stable of blockbuster directors, just kind of when they can't get a big-name director, that he's there. Most notably, he is probably best known for being the co-director of Sorry. I just needed to get that off my chest.
There was so much profanity there.
I didn't think there was such a thing as the Q word, but I think I said it like 5 times.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'm not particularly happy with their choice of director. So, with that being said, is there anything we're even remotely excited about for this movie? Well, there is one thing. Jeff Bridges is back.
A thing we wouldn't have known if Jeff Bridges hadn't just bumbled into it by saying, yeah, I'm going to be in another Tron movie. And then Disney had to change their entire marketing strategy, which is kind of a plus because now people have at least one non-problematic actor to look forward to in this movie.
Because of the fact that Jeff Bridges is in this movie, it's just kind of fun. And we also have the question of, how is he in this movie? Because, spoiler alert, for a 15-year-old movie at this point, Jeff Bridges died at the end of the last movie sacrificing himself to kill the bad guy. So, the question of how Kevin Flynn can be in a third Tron movie is up in the air. I mean, there's also the question of how Jared Leto computer learned to love, but I think I already figured that out by now, and we'll see if I'm correct.
But the thing is, we've now seen both of the Tron movies, and then we liked them well enough.
Yeah.
So you can kind of call us fans, at least small F fans. We're not like moderators on the fandom wiki.
We haven't watched Tron Uprising or read the comic books or played the video games. It's just kind of a thing of, we've seen the movies, we thought the movies were good enough, and so we're going to see the third movie. Will Jared Leto be enough to kill it, or will they finally have found a way to make us think this one is pretty good all the way through? I guess we'll find out after our 200th jump. So I'm going to start this part of the video with the classic compliment sandwich. Number 1, this movie looks really cool. Like, there's a lot of creative camera work, the visual effects are decent enough, and the characters seem to really hit their marks. The action scenes are some of the most creative in the franchise so far. Number 2, This story is weird all over the place. It has two different themes for both of the characters, and I don't think it particularly coalesces into one strong, compelling whole. And number 3, Nine Inch Nails' score is really good. It's not Daft Punk, then again, what is? But it does set an atmosphere for what I assume they were going for.
It's a very ethereal score. It's probably the best the Tron world has ever looked in a movie so far, and it could probably even continue to improve as the technology continues to improve and if the series continues on. My main problem was kind of Jared Leto.
Yeah, well, there's a few problems. My main problem was that there's clearly an idea of what it wants to be. Like I said, the story has two different themes for the two main characters, but they don't seem to really link up in the right ways. Like, the story is clearly trying to be a story about life, how precious, fragile, what truly is humanity and everything like that, but I don't really think that it really works between what Ares wants to be in the movie and what the human character of Eve is feeling with the death of her sister being her main driving force as a character.
The main thing is that Ares is really underdeveloped.
Well, I think most of the
characters are kind of underdeveloped, but Ares got the worst of the underdevelopment.
And which is weird because he is the title character. You'd think that if anyone was going to get a lot of focus, it was going to be him.
But he kind of gets ducked in the middle of his story. We don't really get to focus on his beginning. He just kind of starts in the middle of the story.
Yeah, and it's very clear that what they're going for. It's very much, like I said earlier, it's computer learns to love.
But I'm sorry, Jared Leto's not that charismatic of an actor.
Yeah, the problem really is that when it comes to Jared Leto playing this emotionless soldier who learns to be human, he doesn't quite get there.
He's a little too flat. We're not feeling the emotions he should be feeling of him evolving as into this sort of human character. Throughout the third act, I was just thinking, who would be a better actor to be in this role? And I was thinking, like, I don't know, maybe Robert Pattinson or Jacob Elordi or Barry Keoghan or even Evan Peters. Have him and Jared Leto switch roles.
Because when it also comes down to it, Evan Peters isn't that compelling of a villain either. The problem being that Evan Peters' presence as an actor has a certain comedic push to it. It definitely feels like they're trying to satirize the typical let's roll it out before it's ready tech billionaire, which ironically they were pushing the technology of at the premiere of this movie. But the problem is he's yet another underdeveloped character in this movie, but 2, I don't think Evan Peters was really giving as compelling of a performance as he could have as a villain. If him and Jared Leto switched roles, Jared Leto has this kind of factor of intimidation. Hell, it would basically be Jared Leto playing the same role he played in Blade Runner 2049, and apparently he was great in that.
He was actually kind of good in that.
So yeah, have them switch roles. It would have been a way better movie.
Not to say that the movie would be vastly improved just from swapping out one character.
Yeah, the script definitely needed a couple more rewrites, or a couple less rewrites. Not sure which way this went in the case of whether or not it was super focus grouped until eventually it was like, let's just get the bare bones and have a bunch of cool action sequences, or if it was just we needed a couple more passes at the script to actually get these characters on an emotional level.
I mean, I kind of liked Greta Lee. I wish we could have seen more of her.
Yeah.
But she kind of came off as a little bland in the overall.
Well, yeah, it's mostly because the writing doesn't do her any favors.
Yeah.
Greta Lee would have been fine as a main character. If they had made a movie that more focuses on, like, Ares and Eve just kind of going through all of this and, like, left the...
Especially since her and Jared Leto don't have any chemistry together.
Yeah, and that's mostly just because they don't really know whether or not to focus on, like, the whole guy out of his world comes into the real world and just kind of learns to live thing, or if they want to do this whole big corporate intrigue kind of plot that they keep going with.
Well, if they were going to do that, they probably should have had shown Jared Leto kind of falling in love with the idea of Earth.
Yeah,
he's in Earth. He doesn't really. We see him look at the rain once.
Yeah, he looks at the rain once, and then that's all the sign we have of.
Maybe he has this appreciation of Earth. Maybe he wants to learn about Earth and nature and stuff like that. But no, he doesn't even really seem to be care that much about preserving humanity.
Hell, they don't even do the old standby of, oh look, a butterfly landed on his finger, and he seems rather intrigued by it. It flew away, and he seems even more intrigued by it, as if this thing is just teaching him that life is precious or anything like that.
I wanted to stress though, I still kind of liked this movie.
Well, yeah. Once again, the movie looks fantastic, and the music is great.
In the way I've liked a lot of stuff with Tron, I like this movie, but I can see the cracks.
Yeah, and Jeff Bridges is here. He's not here a lot. You can honestly see a world in which Jeff Bridges never was promoted, and so we were just in the dark, and then he's just a fun little cameo. And which, for the record, when it's time for them to recreate the aesthetics of the original 1980s Tron, it's actually the best the old Tron grid has ever looked.
Yeah.
It looks amazing in HD, and I think they really captured it, especially since they have today's technology to kind of coalesce it.
It's probably exactly what Steven Lisberger envisioned when he first came up with the idea of Tron back in the 70s.
It's very clear that with the grid designs, they're going for an old versus new aesthetic in a way, which is another theme that never really coalesces in any way. But the thing is, the grid that Evan Peters' character created in the movie looks like the one from Tron Legacy, and then the grid that Jeff Bridges' Ghost is in is exactly the grid from the original 82 movie. Though we don't spend enough time in either one to just kind of be like, look, it's Tron, it's a really cool Tron thing.
Yeah, that's also kind of a problem I have, is that we spend a lot of time in the real world, which is not exactly a problem. Tron stuff in the real world was kind of the natural place to take the franchise, but we don't spend enough time on the grid.
Yeah, especially since this is the first time we actually see the grid in daylight.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen more of it like that in the movie, but it's not. But we do not see it. And yeah, there's problems with it. Though I think that the real world is when the actual cool looking camera angles and stuff like that start to come up. Even though it gets a little excessive on that. At one point they're like, let's attach a camera to a door to show how cool it is that we can attach a camera to a door so that the character can open it and close it. And also sometimes the Nine Inch Nails score can be a little overbearing because it feels like it's way up in the sound mix during points.
Yeah.
So yeah, even the parts that I really, really liked can sometimes be a little overstuffed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tron Ares is a bit of a mixed bag. I wish that our 200th episode had a little bit more in one way or the other to kind of have some energy to it, but that's just the way it is. I didn't hate it, didn't love it. I'd see it again at least one more time, but I don't feel like it's
We might check it out when it drops on Disney Plus in a couple months.
But I don't feel like this is the pinnacle, and I don't think this is going to be the thing that makes Disney finally turn a profit on this franchise.
Yeah.
But that's it for right now, guys. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, click that notification bell, because apparently we can be not put in the subscription box. Leave in the comments what you may or may not have thought of Tron Ares, or even just the entire Tron franchise up until this point. And don't forget to tune in for episode 201, when 1, 2, 3, boom! Bye.
Did anyone see the movie Tron?
No.
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 No. No.
No.
No.
No.
No.
No. No.
Yes. I mean, no. No.